Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Fallen Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Kijuan Amey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
This
It's
is
going great.
this is an exciting and a very exciting episode. I know. First of all, anytime we have motivational speakers on, it is a truly our privilege to be able to sit back and allow you to just provide the listeners with some true testimony, encourage, strength, and just the overall motivation in the light that so many people are missing. So anytime we get a chance, we love to just be able to sit back and really take full advantage. So love to turn the floor over to you and have you share your story with our guests.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can easily do that. So first and foremost, let me start off by saying, my name is Kijuan Amey, as you all heard. I'm from Durham, North Carolina, where I graduated from Southern High School and went on to serve a decade in the United States Air Force as an in-flight refueling specialist. What that means is I was refueling planes in midair. So not on the ground, but in the sky. Yeah, that was my job. And I can hear everybody's antennas going up right now. So that was an amazing job for me. And I mean, to the point where they pushed me so hard, man, that I even taught it. So I was an instructor, but got my instructor upgrade at the minimum requirement of flying hours that you possibly could. And so if I were to give you the exact numbers, the flying hours were for your requirement, the minimum requirement were 700. Well, I got to instructor school with 701. Not even joking. And I don't mean like, oh, they sent me from North Carolina, where I was stationed in Seymour Johnson, to Oklahoma on a commercial flight with 701. No, they flew me from the base on an actual mission to get some more hours so that I could actually land in Oklahoma with 701 hours. So they were very dedicated on that one. But I digress by saying it was an amazing job. I did 4 years active duty, and then I switched over to the reserves to finish out what little contract I was able to do, because as we're getting ready to talk about, I had a traumatic motorcycle accident that would change my life forever. And that's what would turn me into a motivational speaking force that everybody's talking about today. So May 5th, 2017, a day I'll never forget. Some might call it Cinco de Mayo. I call it my new life's journey. And the reason being is because this day would change my life forever. I was, of course, in the United States Air Force as a reservist, but I also went to school full time and I was getting my degree in computer information systems with the specialization in systems analysis and integration, which is a fluffy way of saying, hey, you know how to code. That's really all that said. You know how to code and build a user interface. Cool. And then I also would have my own business. So Amey Motivation, the business that I've talked about so far today, it's not the first business. This is actually my second. The first one I had was called Kiwi Enterprise. And I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography. And the reason I even preface this is because on that day, May 5th, 2017, I would actually be working for my business that morning. But I had to go work for the Air Force that night/weekend. So that day, I had, it was a beautiful, beautiful spring day, by the way, in Durham. And I had a Dodge Charger was my car. And the reason I say that, because I went to have lunch with I'm pretty sure it was my girlfriend at the time. I went to have lunch with her to see her before the weekend, and before I left to go out of town. Um, and also because she didn't like to jump on the bike and go back to work because she didn't want to smell like the motorcycle. So I drove the Charger to pick her up for lunch. Then I came back home and switched out for the motorcycle. So you can see where the switch up happened. Switched out for the motorcycle. It was in the garage. I pulled it out, man, and I mean I couldn't resist. It was just such a nice day. I don't even know how else to explain it. So I grabbed my photography equipment because that's what I was going to do. I was taking pictures of a website that I managed that day, which was actually my church's website. I was going to go update their pictures on the website. The first picture up there was like the outside, the exterior of the church, but it was old. It was a lot of different things that we had already added that weren't on there, and I was like, okay, this needs to be updated. So I'm very thorough when it came, especially to my business. I want to show you what I can do at all times, not just in the beginning when I win you as my client. I want to be able to do this at all times. And so I believe that's where the military part kicked in. And so I ride from my apartment in Durham to the church, which is also in Durham, and that's only about a 10-minute ride. And for my motorcyclists, you understand what I'm saying when I say about a 10-minute ride. That means it was probably shorter because when those two wheels in between your legs are moving, man, you're moving. Okay. And in 1 minute, there were not many turns. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably about 5 or 6 turns to get to my church from where I lived in a 10-minute window. So that means there's got to be a long straightaway somewhere in there. And it was. So anyway, I get done taking the shots, by the way. Then they looked amazing. I wish I had the chance to upload them, but I did not. And I'll tell you why here in a second. So I felt that with this motorcycle ride and a beautiful day, such as that day, May 5th, 2017, which I thought was beautiful. And it was at the time. I said, I cannot put this bike back in the garage. There's no way. I got to ride somewhere. And so I said, but where do I go? Well, there's a lake here in North Carolina called Jordan Lake. So I would ride out to Jordan Lake, and from my church, literally all the way to Jordan Lake, from that spot is about 30 minutes. So it's a good, nice little ride one way. So going there and then going back home, that would have been okay. I'm satisfied. I can deal with that. Well, I get there, no problems. This is where, and it's not my first time going to this area, by the way, that I went to. And the area that I'm referring to is actually on the cover of my book. So that's the actual backdrop of my book. You got the motorcycle there in the middle of the cover, which is Don't Focus on Why Me from Motorcycle Accident to Miracle. And then there's the motorcycle, a black Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. That's actually Nina, my bike. And then the backdrop there with the trees, the dock, the water, the rocks, all that stuff. That's the lake. That's where I used to go sit. That's the actual spot I used to go sit. And so now that you guys can get a little bit of an imagery of where I was, I would be sitting there, zoning out, meditating, being at one, peaceful, nothing going on. It's so quiet. And it's almost like I was having a moment of quietness before the storm. As they say, the calm before the storm. And then a car on the highway that's right above the rocks there would go flying by, like, I'm like, oh, shoot. So I looked down at my wristwatch that I used to wear all the time because in the military, I always try to keep track of time. I was like, oh, need to go home, grab my stuff, got to head to the base, got to go. And I jumped back on the bike, take off down the road, which is Highway 751 here in North Carolina. And in North Carolina, on these little back roads that we have, like back highways, back roads, back whatever you want to call them, in the woods, We'll put it that way. There are these really tall trees along the sides of the road. Well, as you are riding down the road, the intersections, the driveways, there was a gas station, like it was really small BP gas station, maybe like 4 pumps, and that means one big pump here, one big pump here, and two on each side, or one on each side. And then there was a produce farm that had like tomatoes and stuff like that. Well, at all these areas, the trees would be cut back so that you can see what's coming down the road, because the speed limit down this road will be 55 miles an hour. Well, yes, yours truly is doing 55 miles an hour, but yours truly is not expecting a car to pull out in front of him while I'm doing 55 miles an hour. So this is what ends up happening. And it was a silver Honda Accord who pulled out from an intersection. And all this is from the police report, because like I said, I really don't remember any of it. So he pulled out from the intersection, and I tell everybody I had 3 options, but my body chose the best one. I could have went right and went into those trees I mentioned to y'all, or the ditch, whichever one would have hit me first. And then I could have went left and went into oncoming traffic, which is not a good thing, because that's coming 55 miles per hour at me, and I'm going 55 miles an hour. Probably would have died on impact. And then what ends up happening is I freeze up and I hit this Honda Accord that's in front of me, which is moving actually away from me, reducing some impact. And so I had to be life flighted to UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Go Tar Heels, by the way. I am a Tar Heel fan, for those who are like, oh, he's from Durham, he's a Duke fan. Nope, not a Duke fan. And so anyway, on the police report, there were 2 cars that were there behind him in that same intersection who gave statements saying that they saw me coming down the highway. They don't know why he didn't. So now, everybody asks me, they usually ask me that question. Well, what do you think he was doing? Did you ever find out? Did you ask a question? Do you want to see? Hey, I don't want to know why you were distracted enough to pull out in front of me and change my life forever. I don't want to know the answer to that, because I'm afraid of my response. I'm afraid of my reaction, because every action has a equal or, more aggressive reaction. And so here I am, May 5th, 2017. Things were great. I'm on my way home. I mean, I was having a great time that day. Now, May 5th, 2017, 2 p.m. approximately. So it's not even nighttime. This is daytime, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'm now laying on the ground, unconscious, almost lifeless. And again, like I say, have to be life flighted to the hospital, because that's the quickest way you're going to get me some help. So I have to fast forward, because I don't have a choice right now. May 5th to June the 6th, I'm in a medically induced coma. I don't know anything. They're doing countless surgery. I mean, surgery after surgery after surgery on me, literally from head down to my right foot. Literally. So I had to, for those who can see it, I have a scar here, but it goes all the way across the top of my head to the other side, to the other ear. So from ear to ear across the top of my head is a cut, where they had to cut me to relieve stress and the swelling on my brain. My face was crushed in on impact, which is why I had to have a tracheotomy done because the nasal passage was basically blocked up and crushed in and stuff. And so that was pushed in. My right, the bottom portion of my right eyelid was torn off. So my right eye was popped out. They had to rebuild that with skin grafting from my left clavicle, which is your collarbone area. And then let's see what else. My jaw was broken, and I had a lot of chipped and cracked and knocked loose teeth. And that's only mainly from one side. And I've had root canal after tooth pull, after bridge, after I don't even want to know. Like, and that was probably the cheapest part of that whole accident. And that's $20,000 back in 2017. And that's after the insurance pays their part. And so also with my eyes, we could talk about that. What I'm guessing is the face shield, because I did wear a full face helmet. I believe that face shield broke, of course, and I had some of the pieces get in my eyes and scar them up. I do have damaged blood vessels in my left eye, so I see nothing out of it. It's completely dark. My right eye, on the other hand, the one that was popped out, crazily enough, can see a little bit of light, but it has to be super bright light like the sun or that really annoying light that they shine in your eye at the eye doctor. And so now my head, if you guys can see right here, it's like a curve right there. That's where a metal plate is. So I have two, not one, but two metal plates in my head. And then as you move down a little bit further, my spinal cord was medically infused from L4 to T2 with 2 rods and 12 screws. Basically what that means is it sucks when it comes to bending over. That's all that really means. It sucks. And when really heavy weight is on your back, because I do lift weights. My right femur, which is your thigh bone, and the largest bone in your body, that was broken, literally to the point where it protruded out of the back of my hamstring. So it came out of my skin. I forget what they call those types of
nice compound fracture.
Yep. Fractures. And then my tibia on my left leg, which is your shin bone, from knee all the way to ankle, is titanium rod. I fractured my fibia, but I think that one is still in there. I'm not sure. But I do have a screw in my right foot, which I don't know if the screw caused it or the accident caused it, but my left foot is still a size 10 from what it used to be, and my right foot is now a size 11. So I have to wear custom shoes or my feet hurt, literally. So that is head to toe. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one thing. My little index finger on my left hand. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you out. It has trigger finger. And so what trigger finger means is, if y'all can see, my finger just gets stuck like this if it's really stressed out. It'll stay stuck down. And I literally have to pull it with my other hand. And so if you hear me cracking my knuckles in the recording, if ever you see me cracking them, that's why. It's because I need to relieve the stress that's on my finger right now. And that's the only way to do it, is by cracking my knuckles. But yeah, so that is the main things that occurred. And as I get to June the 6th, same year, but just a month later, I'm now waking up out of this medically induced coma. And all I'm thinking is I'm waking up in my bedroom. I have no clue that I've been in an accident whatsoever. I don't feel it. I don't know it. Like, no recollection. I haven't even tried to open my eyes. I'm just honestly, coming out. I feel like I'm coming out of a really nice slumber. It felt really nice. I'll be honest. And then I'm hearing people talk. Well, my military mindset kicks in and says, well, who the heck is in my bedroom? And do I need to get up and start fighting? Like, that's what I'm getting ready to do. I need to get up, start fighting? Do I need to go for the pistol? Because that's right beside my bed. Like, what am I supposed to do right now? And I'm like, wait, no, those voices sound kind of familiar. Oh, well, okay. That's my girlfriend. But what the heck is my mom doing in my room? Like, and that's all I could think. Because when you first wake up in the morning, I don't know about y'all. I know about me. When I first wake up in the morning, I'm not decent. Okay. I am comfortable. And it's to say that Mom, I don't think you should be in here looking at me right now. This is not the time. No, the police. And so that was what kind of threw me off right there, was hearing her be in the room. I mean, I didn't know. Maybe my girlfriend came over and she was trying to, cook breakfast that morning or something. She was up early. I don't know. But usually I'm the first one up because that military, you just pow, you pop up. And so anyway, I'm listening to them talk. And they're talking about an accident. And then they start talking about a motorcycle accident. I was like, whoa, who got in a motorcycle accident? And the reason I'm questioning this is because they never mention a name. All of it is generalized. Oh my gosh, I wish this would have never happened. Oh, I hope he's okay. I hope he'll come out of this all right. And everything is generalized. He, this, that, the. I'm like, does anybody have a name anymore? Like, getting fed up at this point. And so I finally go to say, well, I'm tired of eavesdropping because that's really what I was doing. And I'm going to wake up, or show them that I'm awake, shall I say, to get answers. Well, that's cool until I go to open my eyes and not be able to see anything. Okay, let's try this again. So I, close my eyes really, really hard to see if I can clear this thing up. Something ain't right now. I ain't never woke up without eyesight, so you don't really know what to do. You just kind of see if you can fix it. Well, that second time I opened my eyes and it was the same. Oh boy, somebody hit the panic alarm. Me. I slammed it. And I tried to say something. I tried to say, hey, but all you heard was, and that's literally what oh no, what is going on? My jaw being broken, they had wired it shut. And so when your jaw's wide shut, you can't move anything. You can't even perch your lips. And so, oh man, I'm sitting there like, now I'm going through this panic phase. Can't see, can't talk. I didn't realize it yet, but I could not smell because of the reconstructive surgery they did to my face to put the 2 metal plates in. I didn't realize that yet because you only really notice that you can't smell when somebody's like, oh, you smell that? Or they say, ugh. You like, what? I didn't smell any of that. So I'm like, I don't know no difference. Well, once they hear me panicking and they notice me moving, they're like, what? Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? And both of them come to the edge of my bed. And I'm trying my hardest to say what's wrong with me, but they can't understand me. And my mom's like, hold on. And I'm like, so I get upset because I'm like, I'm trying to tell you, just listen, darn it. And she says, here. And I'm like, what? She's like, hold out your hands. So I was like, cupping my hands. She puts a notepad and a pencil in my hand. And I'm like, I gave her the meanest side eye. Are you serious right now? You want me to write something? And I can't say? And that's what I'm trying to say. But I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it for y'all since y'all are listening and watching. So I take this pencil and I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And she's like, write what you're trying to say. And I'm like, but I can't see. She's like, just try it. You've been doing this. So apparently my subconscious mind had been working when I was in that medically induced coma. The mind is a powerful tool, by the way, just to let anybody out there know. It had still been working. And I had been communicating with people the best way I could. Even to the point where I snatched somebody's phone and was able to text on it. I couldn't see, but I was able to text. And they told me, they said, dude, out of that text, you might have missed 2 words. How did I do that? I was so like baffled. I said, I wish you would have screenshotted it so I could know what I said. But
Well,
anyway,
you were interacting.
yeah.
You have no recollection.
Not even a 1.
6 is the first memory, but throughout that month or so, you were still somehow like to the outside looking in conscious, right? But
the subconscious apparently was operating, and I was the true consciousness that could remember doesn't know.
Yeah.
Does not know a thing. Like, because they were telling me, they're like, yeah, man, you would do this and you would do that. And I'm like, I wasn't doing nothing. Like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. I have no, and I mean 0 recollection of what you're talking about. And so that was so unique and interesting to me. But going back to the part in the story where she hands me the notepad, I take it and I'm like, whatever, I'll write the best I can. And I'm writing, trying not to write over top of what I already wrote. And I'm writing huge because I don't know, like, the space, the time, the distance, the size of the word. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying. I'm going for it. And I hand it back to her and she reads it. And it says, what is the motorcycle accident dream y'all are talking about? And she was like, oh, that's not a dream. That's what happened to you. And let's see, what phrase can I use? Hit with a ton of bricks. Felt like I got hit by a Mack truck. Felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. Whichever one you want to choose, have at it. But all I know is I didn't communicate anymore that day. I mean, it was just like everything changed. At that point in time, of course, it had. But now I know what it is that happened. I don't know the entire scene yet. I just know it was an accident right now. So now that I'm not talking anymore for that rest of that day, for like literally the rest of that day, I think maybe the next day, June 7th or 8th, one of the two, I start back communicating, like actually a full interaction, not just, okay, all right, thank you, bye. No, not just the 1-word liners, but the actual communications. I started asking questions because I had been sitting there asking myself all these questions and I couldn't get any answers because I don't know them. And I said, you know what? It's time to ask some questions. Hey, give me that notepad. And I started writing as best as I could and giving it to them. And I just need you to run down the whole list of everything that y'all know, basically. And that's when basically what I told you guys. So the story that I've already told is what they told me. And so I was like, oh my God. So somebody pulled out in front of me. So it's not my fault. Wait, I mean, that's okay. I it does relieve a lot of stress off of me, but it sucks. And now I go back to my mindset of work. Remember, I told you guys I had to work that weekend for the Air Force. I said, oh, shoot. I took the paper back and I said, the Air Force or the military, whichever one I wrote, is going to think I'm AWOL. And I handed it back. And she was like, what? No, they're not. They know who you are. I wish y'all could have been in my mind. Like my mind was so all over the place at that time because I had been festering in countless thoughts for so long, trying to figure out what happened to me and what information I needed to know and did not know. And I was just sitting there with all these thoughts in my head, and well, I mean, countless thoughts to the point where some of them might have drove me other is like some people crazy, you know. But thank God it didn't drive me crazy. It just made me sound funny and a little strange. And so I was like, "What do you mean they know I'm not? Oh, I'm here. How do they know? Who told them?" She was like, "Kijuan, do you know what day it is?" And this is how I found out what day it was. I was like, "No, I know nothing. This is what you're supposed to be telling me." And that's when she told me it was the month of June. I said, "Wait, well, how long has it been since the accident happened?" And she told me May 5th. I was like, "What? I've been here for a month? Who's paying for this?" I've never stayed in the hospital over a day at all. At all. I don't even like being there for a couple hours. I've never been there for a day. So the fact that I've been here for a month, oh man, who's paying for this? And so, you know, I all of these things go on, and she's telling me all this stuff that they did for me while I was in the hospital, and how they would come visit me and sit with me for hours and hours, and not just, you know, coworkers, but friends and family and those alike, you know. And it was so, at that time I needed all of that. It was so uplifting, encouraging, whatever word you want to use. Everybody who came to see me, just know I love each and every one of y'all. I do from the bottom of my heart. I expressed it in my book, and I'm expressing it in public, regardless of where you are. And so that is a piece that I advocate for wholeheartedly. And the reason I say that is because when somebody goes through something traumatic, it doesn't even have to be that. You could have had bunion surgery. Hey, man, listen, bring me some food. You know, I can't get up. Can you bring me some food? That means a lot. That's what people don't understand. I mean, I remember when I got home, kind of speeding up a little bit, but just to tell this one story, I remember when I got home, my friend Travis, he and his friend, or his friends, he and his children came over to the house, and I thought it was just going to be him. He brought the children with him to visit me. He doesn't know what that meant to me because I hadn't been able to see them. He didn't want to bring them to the hospital because he would come by himself to the hospital. So that's what I was expecting, him by himself. Well, he was like, you want some pizza, man? I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah. He was calling because he was on the way, and he was like, he wanted to know if I wanted some pizza. I'm like, that's fine with me. He's like, okay, I'm gonna get some pizzas for us. I said, it's just me and you. Why you need pizzas? And he was like, oh, no, I got the kids with me. I said, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So when you go visit someone that's been through something traumatic, that could potentially make them feel down inside or on themselves, sad, whatever, depressed, go visit them. Show them that you care. Yes, a call is okay. A text, you can keep it. I don't really want to. I mean, granted, yes, it says something, but what it really says is, I don't have enough time. Here you go. If you listen, we all in life make time for what we want to make time for. I promise you we do. I promise you we do. And so when you call, that was great. I love the phone calls, but man, those visits, oh man, because now I'm getting to tell you about the things I've done. I'm getting to show you the things I've been doing. Oh, you couldn't tell me. I feel like a kid telling everybody, yeah, guess this what I did today. Watch this. Oh, you know, hey, what? I'm gonna do a willy. I'm gonna pop a willy in my wheelchair. Woo! You know, just the little things I could do, man. It was so amazing to show people that. And so I highly recommend that. I'm a huge advocate for it. And that was the biggest piece for me in the hospital. Well, the whole time, but the hospital for sure is it seemed like every time. Put it this way: every day somebody was coming to visit me. if it, if well, I know my mom and girlfriend at the time they were gonna come, but some point in time somebody's gonna pop up, and now I'm just trying to figure out who it is. You can get that buzz. Hey, Mr. Amy, yes, you got a visitor. Okay. They wouldn't tell me who it was. And then they knock on the door and I would try to do my best guess because I'm using my ears now. I'm trying to get used to the adaptation of vision or sight loss in the hospital. So everybody that came in, they were like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's so and so." He's like, "How, man? How did you know that?" I said, "I'm pretty good, huh?" Different things like that. But that was like the guessing game, So I had fun with it, man. I really did.
So, what was the road to recovery like? I mean, this is by definition earth shattering, life changing, to get to come to and essentially not have use of your senses. I mean, I could feel the image that you painted and the sheer panic I was experiencing even hearing that.
Mhm.
What was it like kind of getting out of the hospital and carving a new life after the accident?
Yeah, man. So the initial road to recovery, of course, started in the hospital. You go through your physical therapy, occupational therapy, because, like I said, I could. Well, I don't know if I mentioned this already. I couldn't even walk when this first happened because of all the injuries I sustained. Man, my back felt like it. I don't even know what it felt like because it felt brand new, basically, with all this metal in it. My legs, I really couldn't feel them. All the metal. My right foot was stuck in a position that literally I could only walk on the ball of my foot. Literally, it was stuck that way when I first woke up. Now it's not like that because I've worked countless hours in physical therapy to get it to flex upward. And so at the hospital, I started learning, different like stretches and movements in the bed. That's where I started all that stuff. They Once they took the wire off my jaw, occupational therapy helped me with learning how to talk and not so much eat. I mean, yes, we got back to eating, but it took a little while because I had to get my mouth able to open up. Listen, I have never wanted to eat a burger so bad in my life. But when you've been stripped of that for a while, a month, or actually longer than a month, because it took me a while after. I think it was like a week or two after I woke up, they took that wire off. So I now had to learn how to open my mouth. And they were like, he can't eat, by mouth yet. We want to make sure it's safe. We don't want him to choke or anything, and we want him to be able to spit it out just in case he does choke. But if his mouth is not able to open, he won't be able to spit it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, anywho, I learned how to get back to some stability of walking and moving my legs at the hospital on the what they call the parallel bars. And this is where they put, you can roll in on a wheelchair, but they put you in between two bars. They're sitting about this high when you're sitting down. Then you stand up and you're holding on to them. They want you to shift your arms out forward in front of you first before you ever take any steps because you don't want to take steps and your arms are behind you because that makes you lean back. Then you will fall. So you want to keep your arms ahead of you and take, whatever steps you can. Well, whatever steps I could were probably smaller than baby steps. And I mean that. But guess what? I was still moving. That's what I do know. Inch by inch, I was still moving.
Stack the wins.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not how far you go, it's how long you can do it for. So instead of sprinting, I wanted to run this race as if it were a marathon. I still have a long way to go. And I tell myself that all the time because I compete in powerlifting. So I want to keep going until I can.
Well, I think that's a beautiful mentality just for life in general, right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's overcoming an injury, whether it's jumping into a new career, a new industry, or learning a new skill, or whatever it may be. It's being able to win stack. And I think that's a superpower that people who go through traumatic injuries, physical injuries, I think it's a superpower that if they can come out the other side, that they have. Because it is, you don't take those little, talk about the little step or eating for the first time or
Yeah.
being able to whatever that thing that, a month before you took for granted, right? Being able to do that and see the wins and then see the progress, you can apply that to anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And today's show is sponsored by Mega Information Technology, led by Sharav Nadifi. If you're a business owner or entrepreneur trying to grow but stuck dealing with Wi-Fi issues, data security, or website problems, Mega is the team you need. They handle managed IT, cybersecurity, cloud backups, voice over IP, and even web development, all tailored for small to mid-sized businesses. They've got our back here at the Fallen Up Podcast, and now they can have yours too. Mention the Fallen Up Podcast and get 5% off services with Mega Information Technology. Make sure y'all tap in.
There were moments, where I would get down, but it was mainly because I was sitting idle, and you just go back into that moment of reminiscing, and I'm like, I miss my job. I really, really do. And then reminiscing goes into you getting tired, because your brain is emotionally drained and you just fall asleep. And then you're thinking about what you're just upset about or reminiscing about. And then it turns into a nightmare.
When you were coming out of the hospital or in those early days, would you have dreams of your life before the accident?
Yeah. They were like dreams, but it was kind of like it was trying to cross the two. So it would be like the past to now try to include what's now.
How wild is that?
Dude, I literally had a dream, and I'm not lying. I might have put this in my book. I can't remember, but I do tell it on stage. I had a dream. So I used to fly on the KC-135, which is the refueling plane. Well, I had a dream that I was walking back towards the cockpit from doing air refueling. And for whatever reason, and this means that I was able to get back into the military somehow. So for whatever reason, I'm walking back to the cockpit and I get to a certain part in the cargo compartment, and the wall, the side wall to the airplane has some freakish magnetic polarity, and the metal in my body reacts to it and pulls me to the side of the aircraft. And now I'm stuck. And I'm like, what the dude? I woke up so quick.
I would need that.
I woke up so frantic. I was like, oh my God, that was the worst nightmare ever. I'm never going back to work. You want to talk about PTSD? Holy crap, man. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real, brother. Oh, in so many different ways, because that's not the only way I had PTSD, with the dreams and stuff, or visions, however you want to phrase it. But I also had one where I didn't notice it the first time it happened, but the second time I noticed it. I was going actually on my way to church with my grandmother, and I was sitting in the front right seat. And you know how you make a left at a light, and there's oncoming traffic? Well, we made that left, and it sounded like I could hear a car. I don't know how close they were. They could have been a long way down the road. But now that my ears are my main source of hearing stuff or knowing where stuff is, it's magnified now to me, and I feel like it's right there. What I don't notice is I am white knuckling the door handle.
Mm.
And when I say white knuckling, I mean squeezing the crap out of that sucker. And then I was like, ow, my hand. And I was like, wait, why was I just holding on to that door handle like that? And I had to think about why I was doing that. And it was because I was afraid of something hitting me on that side of the car. And so, yeah, man, PTSD can come in so many different shapes, form, fashions, and it's not fun.
So you had a brilliant quote
Okay.
it was something along the lines of, I may have lost my sight, but I did not lose my vision.
Yeah, that's it.
Tell us about that and how that has allowed you to navigate this new life.
So I'm sure everybody's like, wait, what? Isn't that the same thing? Sight, vision? Yeah, no, it's not actually. And I'm going to explain to you why. So I may have lost my eyesight, but I did not lose my vision. My vision is always up here in my mind. The vision part of it is that I was always wanting to help people. Now let's figure out how we can help people in a different way. I helped people before with my accident with, playing sports. I would help my teammates. In the Air Force, I served my country to help my country stay free. Um, to help my crew members, whatever they needed help with, different things like that. Well, now I am a motivational speaker. I help people by impacting their lives to continue moving forward in any adversity with my story. And I also help the people I mentor and the people I coach by giving them insights from what I know, not what I think, what I know will work for you. And so that is helping and giving back. And that's what the vision is for me. So I lost my sight, but I didn't lose the vision. And that is to continue helping people.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Being of service, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the cheat codes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? For having a happy life and also overcoming obstacles. When you start being selfless, it just makes it easier to overcome. One of the things that I want to take not too far of a step back, just a little step back, because it's something in this powerful story. So many things, but something that resonated with me is the support you got when people came to visit you. I resonate with that just because I'm the first person in my family to ever go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So that shook up my family in a sense, and I lost a lot of people who I thought were my friends, and then I gained my family in a sense. And when I think about going to the visit hall and the people and friends that did visit me, those are people I'm extremely loyal to forever. They could cross me and I'm gonna still be loyal to them just because they was there in my darkest time. And I wanted to have you just speak more about how important is a support system, and how did it motivate you to be who you are today as a person of service?
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you for sharing that story about you. Because those are memorable moments you'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it meant to me. They are memorable moments I will never forget. And with the traumatic brain injury I suffered, I do have a little bit of memory loss. It's mainly short term. Memory's everything for me. I mean, I want to make sure that people understand these moments that we share in life are the best. Like that is what you look for, you strive for. is to have moments,
Mhm.
because moments last. Material, you could take that away. That could get good. When you went to prison, you couldn't take all that material with you.
None at all.
Exactly. When we leave this life, when we die, that Brinks truck with your checking account, it's not pulling up to that grave site. I promise you, it's not.
Mhm.
So you can save all the money you want in there. It ain't pulling up to your grave site. It's going on. And so we get so caught up, and I'm trying to do my best and not do this, but we get so caught up in the material. Listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't live life. That's not what I'm saying at all. But we get caught up in material things that we forget to have moments with people we love. I'm going to say that one more time. We get caught up in material things that we forget to have moments with people we love. And that could even be somebody right in the house with you. You don't even have to you don't have to go outside the walls you live in. And they're right there with you. You're still not sharing moments with them. It's sad. I know from experience, I've dealt with this. I do my best to bring up the advocate part of it, the advocacy part of it, and I've just now learned. I didn't just learn it, but I'm trying to be great. Do better is what I'm trying to say at saying thank you. Why do I say that? It goes a long way. I don't care what it's for. I just went to go get brand new clothing items because I needed stuff. Like I told y'all, I do powerlifting. I'm getting too big right now. I'm swelling up right now. And so I needed some new shirts, dress shirts from speaking, going to church, all this stuff. And I only buy new clothes for what I need it for, not just to be splurging. And when I was on the way home, me and my mom were riding. First off, she took me. She just offered it. I didn't ask. She just offered to take me, and I was like, "Oh wow, who are you, and what did you do with my mother?" But anyway, it's not to say she doesn't do anything for me. It was just crazy or not crazy, but out of the norm that she came out and asked me that. But anywho, what I'm saying is, when we were on the way home, I just politely said, "By the way, Mom, thank you for taking me to get some shirts today." And she said, "Oh, no problem." Just that simple. A simple thank you. Even though she knows you love her, she knows you are thankful, she knows you're grateful, the words do still have meaning, and they also hold value. So that's just all I would add to it, man. Because you said a mouthful of what you said, how you're loyal to the people that came to see you.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you said, well, in prison I couldn't get no text message, so
You're right.
I got to skip that part. But when people take the time out their day, because I can't give you no money in prison. I can't give you no anything really.
Mhm.
So you take the time out your day to either write a letter or to visit me or to accept a phone call that you're paying for.
Mhm.
Yeah, I learned not to take those for granted, and I learned to, like you said, the material stuff, because I think a lot of the some of the reasons I went to prison was me chasing money,
Mhm.
and when everything is stripped down and you have nothing of material to hold, you like you said, you only have your memories, and you only have the support system that really loves you, because at that point for 4 years I was a liability. I wasn't an asset to anyone.
Mhm.
So for people to take that on, especially, and I used to be like, my family, but especially my friends, because they don't have to, but my family too, because they don't have to either. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, I think it's important to, like you said, just to, because like my mother is someone that had faith in me when I didn't have any faith, and she knows I love her. She knows I do all this stuff, whatever she asks me to do. But sometimes you got to remind her and just to
Yeah.
let her know and show your gratitude.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to touch on one of the the other quote that you shared with us. My situation does not define who I am. I define who I am. Can you share more about what that means and that how that quote has defined who you are?
Yes. First off, let me preface by saying I got that quote from a very famous TV show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Classic. Will.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yo, my man G. So so yeah, man. So anyway, this is actually in season 1.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the episode with him and that guy from the other school where Marcus were playing basketball against each other.
Yep.
And they, meeting up at the barbershop and all that stuff. Marcus Stokes was his name in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the end of that episode when, how Will let him go past him and all that stuff. And he's like, man, why'd you let me go past you? He was like, what? No, I ain't let you go past. He's like, I know your game, Will. You let me go past you. He was like, listen, you got a kid, you impressed the scout tonight. You'll go to his college. You get to get a full ride scholarship. What's your beef? He's like, oh, I get it. So you've been watching too many made for TV movies. He said, you're thinking that college is going to be my meal ticket. Man, the first moment I break my leg, I'm no good to them. I'm using my mind to get what I want. He said, my situation, which was his son, he had a son at the time. He said, my situation does not define who I am. I define who I am. And what that meant to me was my situation, my visual impairment, my traumatic brain injury, my PTSD, my spinal cord injury, my legs being broken, none of that defines who I am. What you see me do is what defines who I am. Because actions speak way louder than words can.
Absolutely. Powerful.
Yeah, man.
Powerful.
Yeah, that thing spoke to me. And that was in season 1, by the way. That episode was in season 1.
And it's funny. So, I watched a lot of Fresh Prince because I definitely remember that episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
That idea is probably one of the most empowering messages one can take with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think everyone is going through a life situation, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And when you get zoomed in, you begin to think that life situation is who you are. You begin to think that there's no way out, no matter what. This is the most painful, insurmountable thing ever. When you're able to zoom out and recognize that sometimes it sucks more than others. Yeah. These are things on a radar, right? And these are moments in life. And if we let that moment define us, then who are we? Mm-hmm. We're able to zoom out and recognize that, no, this is what I stand on. These are my principles. This is who I am. This situation is just something that I'm experiencing and I'm going through. Yeah. There's unlimited grace and opportunity in that. Mm-hmm. I think you truly are a testament to, and again, I would be shocked if you just, woke up on June 6th and that was immediately the mentality. I'm sure there was a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
To that, to be able to recognize that, wait a minute, these physical limitations that I'm experiencing, the pain, the suffering, like for a while, I'm sure that felt like it was you, right? Mm-hmm. But you found ways to truly not only overcome, but I think find the real you. And I know that certainly was my experience. It's real. I can relate so much to so many of the experiences you've had and just the mindset. And as Kevin brought up, relying on community, relying on support, having that gratitude. The amount of times that Kevin's been by my side in the hospital for literally days at a time, right? Like that's the shit that got me through those moments, right? It gets lonely in that bed. And to be able to know that we got our people. We're not in this alone. We have each other if we allow ourselves to have each other. And I think that's where gratitude comes in, because gratitude's contagious, right? If I'm grateful, I'm more likely to attract grateful and love.
Right.
If I'm not, I'm putting my walls up and my shield up. But I say all this to say, I'm so grateful that we were able to have this conversation tonight, and for you to be able to share your story, your triumphs, the obstacles with our listeners today. I know you immediately brought back how precious life is, how quickly things can change, and why tapping into a place of gratitude it's the only way to do it for me. If I want to be happy, and if I wanted to find who I am. So I'm super grateful that we got to have this experience tonight. Can you share with our listeners where they can find you?
Hold on, I got one question.
All right, Kevin.
I got one question. Let me sneak it in, because I think it's important. I think it's very important. As a drummer, as a kid that grew up in the church, father is a pastor. I taught myself how to play drums as a baby. I see that kit behind there. That kit caught my eye now. I just want you to just very briefly, if you could just share what music means to you and how it impacts you.
I think you cut out on the last part.
No, just sorry about that. If you could just share just how instrumental music has been in your development to this point.
Not only in my development, but I always say music is me. I've been musically inclined since I was a kid, man. Just like you said, you taught yourself how to play when you were a child. I've been beating on stuff since I could move my hands. Okay, whether it was your face, listen, I'm a baby. I'm slapping everything. It didn't matter whether I could have pencils in my hand and beating on the arm of the chair, dude. It did not matter. I'm setting up pots and pans in my room, and my mom's upset. Where are my pots and pans? She's kicking in the door, okay? and she, just these different things. I used to bowl, and I have to give you this example so you can really understand how far it went. I used to bowl, and I started bowling at the age of 5. And so I used to win trophies, nice little trophies. They're about that big, and, have the bowling pin on it. So, it's got a head, but it's got that little neck on it, but then it gets wide. Okay, cool, right? Well, video games, like PlayStation back in the day, the PS1 video games, PS2, whatever, they had that little hole in the middle of the game. Well, the games that I didn't play no more, guess what it became? My symbol.
Yep, I knew it.
Dude, that's how serious it was.
Your crash symbol.
Yes, sir. That's how serious it was. I was breaking symbols before they were real symbols, okay? So music is absolutely me. I've been playing on a actual physical drum set since I was 7 years old, and I still play till today. I was literally just playing at church on Sunday, so I still play till today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I love music. It's something that I'm attempting to get back to. Just I keep giving these excuses, but I know it's like working out. It's one of the things I need to do.
Yeah.
Just for my whole mental well-being. It's a great escape. So that's super dope. I had to say something about that kit though. I see the back there. I had to say something.
That's my baby, man.
I already know how that go.
So I bought that for a birthday present, not this past year, but it's a couple years back, and it was one of those moments where you were really I was really in a bad place, and I needed something to encourage me and uplift me, and I said, "What is me?" And like I just told you, music is me. First thing I turned to, I said, "I'm going to get a drum set, and I'm not just going to go buy any drum set. I'm going to go buy a drum set that I want." And I went to the store and picked it out. I said, "Listen, I want this kit, but I want that kit to be red. I want the sparkle, and I want DW. I want zildjian symbols. And I told when I got done listening off everything, he was like, "You've been thinking about this for a while." I said, "Yeah," and it was like the kit alone was just 2,500. That was just the kit. We're not talking about symbols included. No symbols were included with this. That's just the kit alone. I had to buy the hardware. I had to buy the symbols. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't playing no games.
No, listen. The brands that that Kijuan just mentioned, Ben, is like the top of the line. Those symbols are top of the line. DW heads are top of the line. So yeah. He's a real drummer. He's a real drummer. And they for sure. Just those names alone, I already know. Yeah. Those are, and they've been around forever since we were kids. Those same brands are just staples of drumming. So yeah, that's super dope. Do you got a double bass pedal?
I do actually, but I only use the single. I grew up single, man. So I started learning. Well, not even learning. I just started dabbling in double because I was like, man, I could teach myself how to do it. It was one of those. I could teach myself. If I taught myself how to play, I could teach myself how to use that. And then I was like, but it doesn't fit in the style of play that I do.
Right.
And that's when I stopped using it.
Yeah, I find it's like more rock and roll stuff, double bass pedal, but like gospel, hip hop. Yeah, you just need one.
Yeah. And my before my accident now, and remember I told y'all my foot was stuck in a fixed position to where I could only walk on the ball of my foot, and that's my right foot. You know I need my right foot. I was so upset, and it still bothers me till today because it does have moments. But that's why I go to the gym to keep it strong. And the reason I'm prefacing this is because my right foot used to be so dominant. Right? And I'm left-handed. That thing used to be a monster. And people always talked about it after I played. And like, man, I had to come over here and see what you had. I thought you had a double bass player, a double bass over here. I was like, oh no, that's all me. That's all me. I said, no, sir, I'm just that fast. And then I knew how to throw that right hand in there to give you an extra beat. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all about to take me on a whole another roller coaster.
Yeah, listen, we can do this all day because I love it. Talk about that floor time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, we could do. Yeah. That's dope. That's super dope. But I'm glad that you were able to get back to that because you know that once you do it, it never leaves, and to get back at that, it just brings you to those childhood moments, those joyous moments. So that's amazing. Yes, music is me. Music is me.
That's it. That's the highlight right there.
Yes, sir. So yeah, like Ben was saying, appreciate the extra minutes, Ben. As Ben was saying, if you could just share where people could find you at, if you could share about your book, website, everything. Let's get the people a way to connect with you.
Absolutely, man. One of the best things you could do right now is go to my website, ameymotivation.com. That's AMEY motivation.com. That is more so the one-stop shop for me. I have my book on there. It's connected. So you can find the Don't Focus on Why Me from Motorcycle Accident to Miracle book title. And that can be also found on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, as well as Apple Books. So yes, there is an audio version of this book. And might I add, the person who did the audio and narration did a great job. Then if you want to book me for speaking engagements, such as conferences, conventions, events, galas, what have you, schools, businesses, I don't discriminate. Okay. You can go in there and you can find my book me link. I also have my social media handles. I can be found on Facebook. I can be found on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter or X, whichever you prefer, at Kijuan Amey. So just my first and last name, KIJUANAMEY. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you for sharing your story. Reading the form you filled out, was powerful, but meeting you was even more powerful.
Thank you.
And just appreciate who you are and your story. And I'm looking forward to dropping this episode because I know it's going to impact people in a positive way and give people motivation and empower them to not let a moment define them, but be the defining moment. So
yeah,
thank you for coming on the Falling Up podcast tonight.
No problem. I appreciate you guys having me on here to share my story.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
The Falling Up podcast.